Representative Brian Lorenz. Welcome to Message from the House.
Love it. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great.
Filming this after session.
Yep.
Later in the afternoon.
End of the day.
We appreciate
Oh, it's all great.
you.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to focus on housing, city planning, and development, which is such a hot topic right now in Ohio and pretty much across the country. Before we jump on it, I just want to ask, what committees are you on right now? What is your background in this sector so folks can understand?
Sure. So I have a master's in city and regional planning. I've worked in land use planning, primarily in zoning and zoning reform and more regulatory, what I would call regulatory type planning exercises for over 30 years. I'm a member of the American Institute of Certified Planners, which is the top level association for our profession. Let's see what else. I got my bachelor's at University of Toledo, my master's from Ohio State, and committees that I'm on right now all revolve around growth and development, transportation, local government, whereas that's where we're talking about a lot of zoning and land use issues. I'm on, what else am I on? Insurance, which is very interesting because then we start talking about, rates and mortgages potentially and things like that. It's a really hard committee. It takes a lot of reading and understanding.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm trying to think of the other one I'm on. I can't think of it.
You actually just reminded me that state benefits closed today. So if you want to change your health insurance, that's a reminder.
You're about out of time.
In the room, it is to.
We did get numerous reminders, so if you missed it, that's on you.
Yes, and 100%. And every time I forget to approve my time card, it's on me. It's because we get so many.
And I'm also the vice chair of development. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Probably because I had all three of them, 3 of the 4 today and 1 yesterday. So.
And session.
Yes.
And all the other meetings and obligations that you have. So I want to get into this topic. Obviously, we're experiencing a housing shortage that's leading to higher prices. How do we strike the balance of not overdeveloping, but making sure there's enough to meet the demand so those prices can lower?
From the state level, what we need to do is concentrate on legislation that empowers communities, and we'll talk later on about the comprehensive land use plan, but allows them to have solid zoning regulations so development can be more predictable in their communities, and concentrate on denser areas sort of remaining that way and working as we move away from the center core of the city to allow for that preservation of land and whatnot. And so that's really, those policies are the best ways to measure that out and keep everybody happy. The City of Columbus just changed their zoning code recently, and what they've done is they've allowed for more density on the main corridors. So take Broad Street's probably not a good example. But, as we get further out east and west, it would be. And so you're putting more density on the main street, and then you're allowing for it to kind of fall back as you go back out of the neighborhood so that you keep most of the traffic out on our main collector roads, and then, have those more spread out residential areas as we go away from those corridors. That's sort of what we call form-based zoning. And so having a variety of those tools at a community's disposal really helps with mitigating overgrowth.
Yeah, and you kind of just segued into the next question. We're seeing a lot of growth specifically in your district, Powell and Delaware. So how does the state go about helping spread out that growth, and then also making sure in terms that their governments are supported with that growth?
Yeah, I mean, it's a two-way street. We're always going to have a fight between the developers and the communities, and this is where the comprehensive plan will come into place, where in Ohio, we have to zone in accordance with a comprehensive land use plan, but that is often not challenged or held up in court, or creates a lot of land use disputes. And so having that particular tool strengthened is something that it's legislation that you'll see from me where it talks about having community participation, as well as community buy-in, and not just putting a plan together and sitting on it. Too often our communities will do that, and they don't have a functional time frame to either execute the plan or put things into the plan that are going to make a lot of sense. So we've got to be cognizant in what we're doing to give them tools. So again, we ensure predictability. And what's really important is that in communities, the key stakeholders are invited to participate in the table, and that process should be defined a little bit better legislatively.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, bringing in everybody. And speaking of planning, I didn't realize that you were the mayor of Powell.
I was.
I'm from Hilliard.
Okay.
Yep. So I grew up right
My
down the road.
first house was in Hilliard.
Oh, was it really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
I won't tell you when, but
Yeah. I was going to ask
where
where.
our babies were born. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Hilliard has grown so much since I grew up there. And even when I go back, doesn't even feel like the same.
It's very different.
Yep.
And they've done a lot of great things in Hilliard, especially in the downtown area. And that was a process that had been utilized to get buy-in on what the community wanted. And they've created a vibrant town center. And people say that's great, Brian. What's that all about? Well, it drives revenue, right? And when we're driving revenue, we're lowering expenses in all Ohioans indirectly, and so that helps with housing prices and things like that too. And
I want to tackle the importance of having a development plan. That was, part of the question of bringing up your background as a mayor and, a city planner. Break down what that means for folks, and then can the state do anything to help?
So basically what a comprehensive plan or a development plan is, it's a tool for driving growth in a certain community in the future. Our issue is that we have areas where a township in parts of my district might only have 6,000 people and may not have the affordability to go out and hire a professional to execute one of these plans that we're requiring to drive the growth. And so we need to take part of our budget and utilize that to offer assistance. And we're doing that indirectly through other programs like TMUD and things like that. And so it'll be interesting to try and spread that out a little bit, because you don't want the little guy to get run over. And again, I talked about predictability. That's really important. Predictability and participation. And, those are things that will help drive the community plan. But basically, in a nutshell, that plan sets up, the growth patterns that the community wants to look at. 5 years is too short, in my opinion. 10 years is maybe a little long. 7 years is a weird number. So, kind of more on the 10-year plan. And on top of all that, we've got to look at what's going to happen in the community, and then what are the community assets that are going to be needed: fire, police protection, all the water, sewer. How does that drive growth and development? Because that's actually, we can have all the plans in the world, if we're not coordinating and working with different agencies, then the plan will go awry. Water and sewer will drive growth, and when it's there, that's where we're going to see, a lot of the activity happen. Yeah.
And would you say that a lot of these localities, are they going up to 10 years out, or are you seeing,
It's all over the place, quite frankly.
Okay.
I mean, when I was the mayor, our plan was done in 1994. I was the mayor in 2016, 17. We had just updated it in that period. So almost 20 years. And for an area like that, and the plan was very good, but the characteristics of the community have changed. The community attitudes have changed. That's too long to wait. And what happens when you don't act, then you get caught in trouble, and growth can lead to sporadic and out of bounds type of growth.
Yeah, it's like we just said with Hilliard, I'm sure Powell's been the same. Obviously Delaware, I knew Delaware as the little brown jug, right? And I covered it with news. Still is, right? Yeah. And it's just booming, with so much development and housing and
Delaware County is a very desirable place. I mean, my district is probably the most wealthiest per capita district. It probably has the highest, most medium income per district. I believe the education level in the district or level, for adults is either the highest or the second highest. We have world-class schools. We have wonderful amenities with the zoo, the brown jug, the fairgrounds. It's just a really, really great place to live. And that's why we're experiencing all that rapid growth.
Yeah. Makes sense. Segueing into programs, and we're going to talk about the Ohio Housing Finance Agency first before we get into. I'm just excited to see how that helps homeowners. That's why I'm like, talk me through program. But you were just appointed to the 15-person board. What is that?
So the Finance Authority main responsibility is taking the monies that are allocated that we put in the state budget and promoting housing that is affordable, projects that are needed. We talk a lot about workforce housing. We've got all these huge developments. We're really blessed in Ohio that we have these economic development drivers. And so their incentive packages, or they sort of facilitate some financing based on a percentage that, of course, we have our programs that we've passed on in the budget to make decisions and help drive good housing that, people say affordable housing and things like that. We need a mixture of housing. We've just got to put it in the right place. And so the board helps with that as well.
You really don't take your housing hat off. You keep it on in all different ways. Talking about home ownership, how do you all on that board help people buy homes?
So indirectly, there are some loan programs. Generally the board is looking at larger scale projects, which are mixed use. But there are, opportunities for Ohioans to coordinate through the board on, lower interest rates and things like that, longer term usually. But what's important about that is that gets people in a house. Mm-hmm. So, before the show, we were talking about my kids. I have 4 kids. There's no way any of my 4 kids, unless they become a millionaire, is going to be able to buy a house in the city of Powell anytime soon. And so the barriers to entry are there. And, we've got to develop these transitional zones where we can put in housing that people can afford. Otherwise, we're going to lose projects like Andrel. We're going to lose projects like what we have with Amazon and everything going out in New Albany, Intel, sorry. And, those places need workers, and those workers will generate a very good wage. But to get everything kind of started, that's where we need to have some mixture of housing opportunities, especially here in Central Ohio. Everyone is migrating here, and that's not to say that the board can't and doesn't and won't help in other areas of our state. But we're kind of under the microscope here. Everybody's coming to Columbus.
I know that was my mom's pitch to get me to move back.
Yeah.
Everybody's moving. Yeah. It's going to expand. I mean, the other side of the river when I was here was not developed.
Right.
Over by Kosai.
Yeah. Now look at it. Right?
I know.
Yeah.
we used to not be able to go by Cosi.
Right,
It was
yeah.
past spaghetti warehouses as kids, and now there's a whole area, which is incredible. And then, this is probably a loaded question, but then how does the OHFA help with the development of those low to moderate
Yeah, so
costing homes?
we have several programs that we have authorized through legislation that are funded through the budget that give a percentage break, usually around 4% or 9%, to a developer. It's scored on a system of, including amenities and benefits and traffic maintenance. And because, we talk about housing, and then the next thing people say is, oh, we got people driving all over the place. We're so congested. And so we have to be very thoughtful in our approach with respect to density. How are we going to, handle all the cars, and do you bring in, mass transit and things like that? I mean, personally, trains are great, but Ohio people love their cars, so we're never getting away from that. But how do we incorporate thoughtful planning to not only move people in a space, but move people in and out around the space? And so that's sort of the thing where those projects are scored, and then those benefits are brought in as well.
Yeah, it's just something you don't think about directly is, okay, we can build and, demand will be lowered in XYZ, but you have to think about getting around these places.
Really ultimately, I'm all about saving people money, putting more money in people's pockets. All we do is talk about property tax relief here and income tax and other things like that. And we've done a really great job, I feel, as a house collaborating on ideas. We've got some really great thinkers here and in the Senate as well. My point to all that is that the more that we can encourage home ownership, the better off, the more we can spread the money around, and indirectly, the more we'll put money in people's pockets through not only home ownership, but people wanting to spend money and stimulate the economy.
Yeah.
So it all kind of drives itself like that.
Yeah. And I, kind of want to wrap up with, what's next or what's now in the House. We still have a year and a half left of the legislature. Talk me through it.
Boy, I mean, the speaker's had us very busy. This is my first official term, but my second term. And, just kind of comparing both terms, we've been really busy. It's very energized. I feel very blessed to be a part of it. For me personally, outside of the healthcare bills that I work on and health and wellness bills that I work on, which are really important to me, he's got me working on some zoning and housing regulation, and we're almost at June. I haven't dropped them yet. The reason is I'm being very, very, and I'm like this with all the bills, but I'm being very, very thoughtful and meticulous on these next bills and what we were talking about, because we want to get everybody at the table. We want to put something that's out, that's thoughtful, that's going to work, and that, everyone can predict. Predictability in zoning is one of the best things that we can provide, because it simply, everybody knows where they're going to stand. Everybody knows what they can do. And it makes that process a lot easier. Speed to market, getting approvals through building departments, and, getting, after we approve all these developments and things like that, getting the permits issued. We have so much red tape. I've got the RAINS Act, which works to eliminate red tape, but and the regulatory sandbox bill, which helps entrepreneurs cut some of those, not cut the corners, but gives them an opportunity to fulfill what their vision is without too much interference, not taking out life safety and things like that. But we've got to get our trades, and we've got to get our products out faster. And what happens often is we have all these economic development programs. We talked about like the TMUD. If you're not able to acquire that, what we call an entitlement or the approval, which would be voted on by a board or commission, in a timely fashion, that money has the potential, and that project has the potential to go away. And what we're asking people that want to work in construction is, we need all these details, and we need all these engineering drawings, and we need this and we need that. And that has such a cost to it. We need to simplify that process, enhance that predictability, and let people know that, this is kind of where you're going to stand. And if you meet X, Y, and Z in the criteria, you should be able to go. So the bills that I'm working on will have all of that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk briefly about your men's health bills? We have time.
Sure, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Representative Rogers and I are doing a bill on June being, we call it Take Your Dad to the Doctor and the Dentist Day. It's really important to me. My dad just passed away at the beginning of the year, and he was in pretty good health, but I struggled from some things, and I, as a dad myself, raising 4 kids with my wife, but she works a very demanding schedule. Us guys, we don't really take care of ourselves a lot. We put things off. It's no big deal. I don't need to do this. And it's so super important for us to stay on top of our wellness from a physical and a mental standpoint. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so I'm really excited about that. We introduced that today. It's more of a ceremonial type awareness bill, but at the same time, we're doing a little road show. We'll do a breakfast in Toledo, and we'll do something in Powell also.
Nice.
So I'm really excited about that. And then Representative Click and I put in the 911 special needs database. I have a son with a disability. I think we need to do a better job in Ohio of taking care of our susceptible population, whether that's our aging folks or people with disabilities. It's completely voluntary, which is the best thing about it. If you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. But we've got a lot of kids and adults that have issues from a communication standpoint that'll give off tells or whatever you want to call them, that they may look like they're drunk or, something else, and get pulled over. You've got nonverbal autistic kids that when they are really upset, they will go into flight mode, and the family has to go into lock themselves in a room so that they don't get hurt. And what we want to do is arm the first responders with the opportunity just to identify or be informed that, hey, you're going to a place where you have this situation. I mean, my own son got pulled over one night because he had a brake light out. He's on the spectrum. He just completely froze. Thank God the deputy that pulled him over worked at the school as well and knew him and said, hey, it's okay. Call your mom, not your dad, because who calls dad, right? But call your mom and put her on the phone, and they sort of work through it. And so I'm really excited that Rep. Click and I got that out of the House, and I'm hoping that the Senate will take that up as well. And then I guess just the last thing that I just put out a request for is I'm going to reinvigorate the Presidential Fitness Award curriculum and require it in all schools. We have a huge child obesity problem here. Okay, kids are always on their phone. They're never outside like you and I were. I think it's really important from a health and mental standpoint to get exercise, to get out. Listen, I've gone through my own journey. I've dropped, 30 pounds since everything that I've gone through this year. And it's as important it is for dads and moms and dads. Our kids got to be healthy. I'm really excited about being part of the MAHA caucus as well.
Yeah.
And, cleaning up diets and things like that. I mean, you just work so much better. You feel so much better. And your a better contributor to society when you're in a healthy state. So
yeah, congrats. I mean, that's no easy feat.
no, no,
Movement,
Yeah.
better choices, less portion size.
Yeah.
I was a college swimmer, so we had nutritionists and things like that. But once you're out of the sport and not exercising enough, definitely takes a toll.
I have a daughter who's a collegiate field hockey player, and she's really realized that as well, and it's helped her game exponentially. And it's just, the intensity that we deal with on a day-to-day basis as a legislator can only help. When we're in good shape, we're going to be better for Ohioans.
Yeah, got to take care of yourself first, to be the best version. Representative Lorenz, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, that was a good conversation. Quickly, social media. We have the Ohio House GOP Caucus on Facebook, Ohio House _GOP on Instagram, and you can subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks again.
Thank you. See ya.